And welcome back, Amiibros, to Bioshock. In the last episode, we had a brief encounter with Steinman before he used an explosive to block the way to him. Luckily, we came across a very handy plasmid in the form of telekinesis, allowing us to catch incoming objects and hurl them back. In this case, a grenade used to blow up some debris and opening the way to Steinman. In this episode, we continue the hunt for the good doctor, and hopefully, we'll put an end to his surgical career. Not waste any more time, and get straight to it. We're coming for you, Steinman! Starting off, I'm gonna hack this security bot that he sicked on me, Steinman. Don't know why I'm doing that, considering I don't really like the security bot as an ally. But you know what? Screw you! I'm feeling very, very lonely today. But speaking of hacking, we run into a new obstacle, the alarm tile. How it works is, if the metallic fluid flows into this tile, it'll act as if you're triggering the alarm, and a swarm of security bots will hound you for the duration. This is an obstacle that you want to avoid at all costs, much like the overload tile. Though sometimes, when hacking, the game will put you in a lose-lose situation where you're either blocked by overload tiles or alarm tiles, or sometimes you just won't have the necessary pipe segment in order to complete the chain. Best thing you can do is just take the damage and start over again. Very dickish on the devs' part, but hey, what can you do? But you saw right there that we picked up a new combat tonic, Static Discharge. If a splicer physically hits you with a blunt object, like say the thuggish splicers, if they hit you with a pipe, you will emit a field of electricity, stunning them and giving you an opportunity to attack them, either with your wrench or shoot them with your guns. Pretty handy tonic for this stage in the game, where most of the splicers we're encountering are more of the up-close kind. Mid to late game, it's not as helpful, because the remainder of the splicers we'll be encountering will be attacking us from a distance, so you want to hang on to it until mid to late game. But after hacking that health station, we're at the office of Steinman. Let's go pay the good doctor a visit.
What can I do with this one, Aphrodite? She won't stay still! I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong! That was too fat! This was too tall! This was too symmetrical! And now, what's this, guys? An intruder! He's ugly! 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 Ugly!
Our first boss fight, Steinman. He'll move around and shoot you with his machine gun, and if his health gets too low, he'll go to a nearby health station to try to heal himself. Don't let him do that. Basically, he's a beefed up leadhead splicer. But there are a couple strategies for dealing with this guy. First off, Electrobolt is a must. You can stun him, giving you a free chance to shoot him, or you can stun him and use telekinesis to hurl an explosive and knock him off balance, again giving you further opportunity to shoot the guy.
It was time somebody took care of that sick bastard. Make sure you get the key off Steinman and head back to emergency access. I'm working my way to the backside of Port Neptune myself. We'll get there soon enough.
If you have Incinerate, be sure to burn him so he'll run into the body of water, and which will allow you to shoot him even further. But keep in mind, there is a health station in that same area as well, so be sure to hack it or destroy it for a free medkit. Any anti-personal rounds you have are always viable against Diamond as well, but regardless of which strategy you choose, he shouldn't be much of an issue. But that was Steinman. Excellent surgeon, terrible gunfighter. I mean, aside from the ways of approaching Steinman, his boss fight isn't exactly all that stellar. You saw how easy it was to just cheese the fucker, and spoiler warning, the final boss is exactly like that too. If I had to say one negative thing about this game is how it handles its boss fights. You know, I'd say the weapon variety and what you can do with your plasmids, as well as how you can build up your character, is great. Using that against, you know, bosses could use a lot of work, you know, because unless you're playing on like higher difficulties and are purposefully limiting yourself, no boss should kill you.
Sounds like another tunnel collapse. Welcome to Rapture, the world's fastest growing pilot joke.
Smoking's bad for you. Turns your lungs into junk. Damn, that little girl's packing heat.
It's a little one. Here's your chance to get some Adam.
It's just you and me and all the tasty Adam I can drink.
Stay away from her, or it is you who will be shot next.
Easy now, Doctor. He's just looking for a wee bit of Adam. Just enough to get by.
I'll not have him hurt my little ones.
It's okay, lad. That's not a child. Not anymore, it ain't. Dr. Tenenbaum saw to that.
Bitte do not hurt her. Have you no heart?
Aye, that's a pretty sermon coming from the ghoul who cooked up them creatures in the first place. Took fine little girls and turned them into that, didn't you? Listen to me, boyo. You won't survive without the Adam those things are carrying. Are you prepared to trade your life, the lives of my wife and child, for Tenenbaum's little Frankensteins?
Here. There is another way. Use this. Free them from their torment. I will make it to be worth your while. Somehow.
Quite the moral dilemma, huh? Well, how about instead of thinking about the moral ramifications, why don't we look at this strictly from a gameplay perspective before we make a decision? Let's discuss the pros and cons of rescuing versus harvesting a little sister so that if you decide to pick this game up for the first time, you can make a more informed choice. All of the information I've received is through the Bioshock wiki as well as the BioshockHub. Throughout the different levels of Bioshock, you'll be encountering little sisters, at most 3 to a level, with 21 total, bearing any glitches. Each little sister carries a maximum of 160 Adam and is always protected by a Big Daddy. In order to get to the little sister, you need to beat the Big Daddy. As Atlas states, she gathers Adam, he keeps her safe. But, once you trounce the Big Daddy, you'll have two choices available to you, harvest or rescue. Harvesting a little sister nets you the full 160 Adam, and harvesting each one in a level will leave you with 480 Adam to spend. With each little sister you harvest, you'll have more and more Adam to spend on new tonics and plasmids available to you at the Gatherer's Garden. Given that you only have a few slots open on each of your tracks, still err on the side of caution what you'd like and work your way from there once you purchase more slots. Playing the game and strictly harvesting the whole way through will net you a grand total of 3,360 Adam and can result in a playthrough of Bioshock that's comfortable and gives you the most Adam. This route is best described as the short-term solution, but it will lead you to the bad ending. While having enough Adam to impulse buy and not feel bad about it is nice, it does lock you out of some unique plasmids / tonics given to you by Tannenbaum. Remember, she did say that she'll make it worth our while if we save the little sisters. Well, can't do that if we're harvesting the little sisters left and right, you monster. And again, if you don't want the bad ending, this path may not be the one you want to choose. Conversely, there's the path of the righteous, aka rescuing. If you decide to rescue the little sister, you'll receive 80 Adam, so about half the maximum amount a little sister carries. Rescuing 3 little sisters in a level will grant you a total of 240 Adam to spend at a Gatherer's Garden. Or it would if not for Tannenbaum. If you save 3 little sisters in a row, Tannenbaum will reward you for your efforts in saving her little ones. The reward is as follows: 200 Adam, a unique plasmid / tonic, and consumables, be it ammunition, medkits, or Eve hypos. Rescuing 3 little sisters in a level will reward you with 440 Adam instead of 240, and 3,080 Adam if you decide to rescue every little sister in the game. Rescuing all little sisters will get you the good ending, obviously, and grant you access to some of the best tonics in the game, as well as a good plasmid depending on your preference. The path of the righteous isn't the easiest, but it does have its bright spots over the course of the game. This route is best described as the long-term solution. But there are some downsides. This route is not perfect. Less Adam will lead you to fewer upgrades and result in a more challenging experience for the next couple of levels. You'll have to spend your Adam wisely on plasmids and tonics that are far more necessary than simply impulse buying. Speaking of plasmids, the one Tannenbaum offers you? Personally, not my cup of tea. I'll go into more detail in the next episode, but just know that I don't use it very often, if at all. What is special are the tonics, which are some of the best in the whole game, but you're only getting them every other level. Lastly, this route is a long-term investment versus the short-term investment you get with harvesting. If you're not interested in the long game and getting a bad ending doesn't bother you, avoid this route. However, that's not to say you can't do both throughout your playthrough. You still won't get the highest amount of Adam as you would by harvesting or all the great rewards if you decided to rescue, but you can get a little of both worlds. It just takes some research and planning on your part. The ending you get won't be the best one you can get either, but it's less depressing than the bad ending, which, hey, that counts for something, am I right? Of course, it's all a matter of player preference and how you choose to go about it. Bioshock, at its core, is a game all about choices affecting the gameplay, and no decision, strictly from a gameplay perspective, is bad. However, when you start to ask yourself, what is morally right? Well...
No! 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 Thank you.
The path of the righteous is not always easy, yes. The reward will become clear in time. Be patient.
Tannenbaum's playing you for a sap. Those things may look like wee little girls, but looks don't make it so. You need all the Adam you can get to survive. If you cross paths with another of them Gatherer's Garden machines, make sure you pick up a new plasmid or two. That's if the price ain't too dear, of course.
So, yeah. Generally, whenever I boot up Bioshock 1, I'm going out of my way to save the little sisters. It's fulfilling freeing them from their torment. Not to mention it makes the most sense, narratively speaking, but we'll get into that when the time comes, don't you worry. But, I know what you're wondering. Amiibro Central, what happens when you harvest the little sister? Well, worry not, my dear Amiibros. As fate would have it, I have infused my laptop with a new plasmid called Tear, which will allow us to peer into alternate realities. So, strap in, Amiibros, as we see what happens when you do the morally wrong thing.
That Adam should do the trick. You did the right thing. Just remember, them things aren't people no more. And it's Dr. Tannenbaum they got to thank for it.
How can you do this thing to a child? But there are other little ones who have need of your help. Will you be as cruel to them?
If you cross paths with another of them Gatherer's Garden machines, make sure you pick up a new plasmid or two. That's if the price ain't too dear, of course.
Atlas, you're an ass. But freeing that little sister from her torment opens up the Gatherer's Garden. Figured I'd let you listen to that nice little jingle. But with some Adam in our pocket, we can now purchase some stuff from the Gatherer's Garden. Some new tonics, upgrades, and even a new plasmid. For starters, we're actually going to be picking up a new tonic, Eve Link. Anytime we use a first aid kit, we gain some Eve. But as you see, we have a new plasmid in the form of Enrage. Let's see what it does.
Enrage your enemies. Laugh as your enemies fight each other.
Slight spoiler warning, I never pick up Enrage. It's just not my type of plasmid. I've tried using it before, and it was not at all worth the purchase. Especially considering I was rescuing all the little sisters in that playthrough too, so I felt like I got gypped. But, with that out of the way, we have come full circle. We're almost at a medical pavilion, except...
You're ready now. It's time to take on one of them big daddies. It won't be easy, but it's the only way to get to the little sisters. And the atom they carry.
In the next episode, we take on the big honcho himself. See you guys then.
Today I had lunch with the goddess. Steinman, she said. I'm here to free you from the tyranny of the commonplace. I'm here to show you a new kind of beauty. I asked her, what do you mean, goddess? Symmetry, dear Steinman. It's time we did something about symmetry. Aphrodite is walking the halls, shimmering like a scalpel. Steinman, she calls. Steinman, I have what you're looking for. Just open your eyes. And when I see her, she cuts me into 1,000 beautiful pieces. Not only are those little girls veritable atom factories, they're nearly indestructible. They regenerate any wounded flesh with stem versions of the dead cells. But their relationship with the implanted slugs is symbiotic. If you harvest the slug, the host will die. So you see, it's not like killing, Tenenbaum said. It's more like removing a terminal patient from life support.